I'm a 56-year-old rural gun-owning white guy. And if Kamala Harris thinks I'll vote for her, she'd be right. Do you know where you were on November 9th, 1989? I know exactly where I was. I was in a hooch on Soto Cano Air Base in Honduras, watching the fall of the Berlin Wall on TV. That was a big deal because it marked the beginning of the end of the Soviet Union, our greatest adversary during the Cold War. It's funny how days like that stick with you. For instance, 2 days that really stick with me from the Trump administration, I mean outside of January 6th, of course. 2 days that really stick with me are the day when Trump was down in Brazil for a summit between big countries, G7, G20 something. Him and Putin came walking out of a meeting, going to the podium to talk to people. And Putin, he had a great big smile on his face. He was just pleased as punch. Trump, on the other hand, well, he was walking 2 steps behind Putin to the right with his head hung down low. Big old frown on his face. Almost like he'd just been taken to the woodshed. Another day I remember from the Trump years is the day that Trump went into the Oval Office, that most sacred of offices, with 2 top members of the Russian intelligence agency, the FSB, and 1 Russian reporter. He kicked all the Americans out. The guy that normally be in there sitting in the corner taking notes for posterity, nope. We'll never know what Trump told the head of the Russian intelligence agency. Those are 2 days that stick with me. I bring it up because there's all these idiots on social media saying stupid things like Putin's a great leader, and we hope Putin saves America. Or, just as stupid, if Kamala gets elected, then she'll lead us into World War III. That's one of Trump's big things right now. She'll take us into World War III. Nonsense. You see, those two of the countries of the USSR were Georgia and Ukraine. And Vladimir Putin was a young intelligence officer for the KGB when the Soviet Union fell. He never quite got over it. Now, as he's getting old and he is sick and he ain't going to last much longer, he wants the Soviet Union restored before he dies. In 2008, he attacked Georgia, and he still controls 20% of Georgia. We all know that 2 years ago, he attacked Ukraine. And a lot of people thought that Ukraine would fall real easy, but the Ukrainian people are too strong. They're too determined. They're going to fight and keep their homeland. As long as they have allies like America in the West backing them up. Trump, what do you think's going to happen, Mr. Subservient to Putin with his head hung low? He already told us that he'd let Putin do whatever the hell he wants. Putin will go in guns a-blazing, and hell, Trump would probably help him to defeat Ukraine. And anybody who thinks he'd stop there, he ain't going to stop. He wants his Soviet Union back. And that, my friends, is when World War III starts. Trump helping Putin take over Europe. It's not that hard to see when you know our history. So yeah, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris to protect our history, to protect Ukraine, to protect us from getting into World War III. Good day.